you think about the community that it takes. The community that it takes, and I think that you know, you can touch a little bit of personal experience on going through just life. So you know, you can take somebody who is educated, has family supports, all those pieces, and something as simple as a change in marital status means that well, you have to figure out lawyer bills and how to do daycare and all the other parts and pieces that go with that. Can you imagine not having the community supports as well? You know, some people are fortunate where family has the ability to help them, you know, bridge that gap between this time and the next time, and other people don't have any of that. And you think about some of the generational pieces too, right? So sometimes, there's recently a thing on Oprah, and it was about the 5 C's, but one that keeps resonating for me when you think about what Neighbourlink does is circumstance. You know, we all have choices, it's kind of like your wild card, but that circumstance piece that says, these are the circumstances I'm under, and I don't think that people have any desire to find themselves in that position, but often when you're left there, trying to pick up the pieces is hard enough, never mind where am I going to get diapers and formula, and how am I going to bring that all together, and the stress that's added to the well-being can be a precipitating factor for much larger issues like mental health. You know, those are the times when we see the break. That's what happens, right? There's a life stressor that occurs, and it's the onset of something bigger. And so when I think about, you know, just what we deem the basic necessities, and how that actually can provide that needed support. Like I'm a mom. You're a mom. I think about, what if I can't pay for the heat bill? What if I have to make a choice between food and electricity, or food and gas to get to my job? How do you start to make those really tough choices? And Neighbourlink eliminates that stress for them. So I really think that that's what it does, right? And when you can do that, the chances that being able to pull yourself out of one of those things that can happen in life, and it's quite common, you know, it's not one of those ones where you can sit around and go, never going to be me, because we just don't know. Economic decline, increase in cost of living, you know, I think there's a lot of Calgarians that live on that border, and so if you can bridge that gap without having it trigger any longer, more lasting effects and contribute to the well-being of the mom and the family, you have a better success rate at keeping them on track and not having to go all the way down that scale, right? And again, it's generational. So if you think of the circumstances when that happens, what happens if she doesn't, you know, mom doesn't get help, if we aren't able to help them? Well, mental health and depression and anxiety and all the things that kick in, and then they start to have an inability to participate in life. And how does that translate to early childhood development and my kids? And how do I make sure that they're getting to school and the supports that they need when I have an inability now to care for myself? Not because I had a desire, but just because of something happened and nobody was there to help me, right? And that's, you know, I know it sounds, but it's simple things, and there's research to support that, right? So you think about how critical that is, and again, I go back to I'm a mom, and you know fundamentally what's needed to provide those, you know, that foundation for success, right? And when that's not there, the detriment that can be, and how far does that precipitate? You know, so does little Angela start to have troubles in school? You know, are they ashamed or embarrassed to have people in their home? So the kids start to have a lack of ability to form that community that they need for themselves as well, right? And so I always have a little bit of a laugh when we think about basic necessities. You know, basic necessities go a long way. Go a long, long way.
Many of our clients are displaced for some reason, whether it be new immigrants, divorce, domestic violence. So like Melissa said, because they're used to being the second in the family, in the relationship, what have you, when something like that happens, their life changes. They don't know where to go, they don't know what to do to get the resources they need to take care of their children, take care of themselves. And so what we see is women are vulnerable because something has happened in their life, and they don't know how to find those resources to help keep their family healthy and themselves healthy. Getting to know your neighbors, getting to know your community association, getting to know things. because no gift of love is too small. Whether it be donating a pack of diapers to donating 40 hours of your time, nothing is too small. And I think what the disservice that Calgarians and lots of people in lots of cities in the world do is they say, well, what kind of difference can I make? Like, oh, well, I can't, this is such a huge problem. How can I make a difference? There's no such thing as a small act of love towards a woman who's vulnerable, or a family, or what have you. There's no such thing as, well, I can only do this, so it's not really worth anything. No. Acting out in love to support your community and support people who are in vulnerable situations makes a difference, even if it is just to one person's heart or one child's heart. If you plant a seed that, you know what, this isn't much, but I'd like to help you with this, that's going to change something in the person you're helping, and that eventually changes the world.